before Noah built anything else, he built this. Picture it. The door of the ark finally opens. Fresh air finally hits the lungs of Noah and his family. Their feet touch the ground for the very first time. The storm is finally behind them. And there's Noah. He's standing at the precipice of a brand new world, a brand new life. And then I think the question becomes for him, what is he going to do first? Does he build a shelter? Does he go find food? Does he do what's needed to secure his family? Does he start making plans? Well, Genesis chapter 8, verse 20 gives you Noah's answer. It simply says this: then Noah built an altar to the Lord. And here's what I don't want you to miss. Noah doesn't start with trying to survive this new season or this new world. He starts by worshiping in it. And so what I want us to do as we are stepping out into the new world that is in front of us is to think about 4 worship lessons from the door of the ark. Okay, the first worship lesson is this: new beginnings start the way storms should have ended. You see, Noah could have stepped off the ark and immediately started by just getting busy with life, because there is work to do. You think about it, there's carnage everywhere. There's nothing certain about what his future is going to look like. But instead of hitting the ground running, Noah stops. He pauses. He builds an altar. Why? Because he understands something that I think we forget. That if you rush into rebuilding, then you can carry the chaos of the storm into this new season that you're entering. Remember, worship is how you reset the soul for the new day and for the new season. Okay, second worship lesson is this: worship comes, and it must come, before planning. Think about that order. Noah doesn't build a house first. He builds an altar first. It's praise before projects, gratitude before goals. His heart turns upward before his hands turn outward and get busy. Now, don't confuse that with laziness. It is not. That's wisdom, because planning without worship turns into this unhealthy reliance on what you can control. And there's just no joy in that. There's no freedom in trying to control your future. That only comes from rejoicing in the one who actually controls the future. That's where joy comes from, and that's what Noah recognized. And that brings us to the third lesson at the altar at the ark door about worship. And that's this: the altar says, I didn't do this. God did. And that's what Noah wanted to make sure God understood from his heart. And of course, God did. Noah's altar is a way of saying, I wouldn't be here if you hadn't carried me through this, God. He doesn't treat survival like an achievement of his. He treats it like mercy. And that matters because after a storm, pride can sneak in a couple of ways. It can say, I made it through this because look how strong I am. Or, well, I sure am lucky that I survived all that. But Noah says neither. He says, I made it because of you, Lord. Because of you. And that's worship. That's why the new season has to start with worship. The new day has to start with worship. And the one last lesson is this: you don't have to feel settled in your life, or even in your day, or even in your morning, or even in the things that you're facing just in the next 24 hours. You don't have to feel settled to worship. Noah's not stepping into a life that he's comfortable with, that he's settled with. He's not stepping into some normal life. He's stepping into a life of massive uncertainty, but still he worships, because worship isn't what you do once everything else is done. All right. Worship is what you do first before you start doing everything else. Because above all else, we need God in our lives. We need God to control what's in our future. We need God to help us build and help us plan and help us provide. Right? So we need to worship. And look, you don't need a 5-year plan of worship. You just need to know who it is that brought you this far. and rejoice in him. You know, some of you are standing on dry ground right now for the first time in a long time. Hey, congratulations. You made it through. Yes, it was a hard season, right? There was loss. There was a diagnosis. There was a conflict. Maybe it was a storm you didn't choose. And maybe your instinct now is just to start rebuilding as fast as you possibly can to make up for lost time. Maybe you look back at all you think you lost and you say, I got to get it back. Well, look, we get that. All that's well and good. It's fine to rebuild. But Noah, before you rebuild, wants us to stop and say, hey, before you rebuild your profession, your finances, your family life, or your future, build an altar. Hey, why don't we do something like that right now? I want you to name one specific mercy God has carried you through. Just one mercy. Maybe it was an illness. Maybe it was a stressor at work. Maybe it was a family issue that needed to be worked out. Maybe it was a financial issue. Just God carried you through that. Just say it out loud. Thank him for it. Thank him before you move on with the rest of your day. Because worship doesn't just honor God. Listen, worship keeps us building our day on the right foundation. And so here's the question. When God brings you out, what are you going to do next? Because whatever you build next, your home or your schedule or your future will only be as strong as what you build first. Build an altar. Build your life on Christ Jesus. Hey, that's the Pastor's Devotion. I'm Bradley Rushing. This is Mount Gilead Baptist Church. Come back and see me tomorrow, and I'll see you this Sunday.